As a fan of history, when asked to explain Bitcoin, I've always found myself having to go back as far as the Roman Empire to explain this aspect of Bitcoin. I'd reference the global financial crisis to illustrate that aspect of Bitcoin. Or a few decades prior, back to when America spent more dollars to finance their war in Vietnam than they had gold reserves to back them. But after the French famously called their bluff in 1971, discontinued the redeemability of US dollars for gold to explain yet another aspect of Bitcoin. I'd reference Executive Order 6102 when in 1933, FDR made it illegal for American citizens to own gold to explain yet another aspect of Bitcoin. When explaining Bitcoin to a Western audience who's never had their life savings being devalued, cut in half, or disappear overnight due to wild government currency devaluation or hyperinflation, like France did to 8 African nations on January 11th, 1994, de facto stealing half the wealth of those 8 countries in one fell swoop. And as is today the case in most of the world, each aspect of Bitcoin's brilliant design became a history lesson in monetary mismanagement, human greed, and the perils of modern economics and fractional reserve banking. Every time I've been asked to explain Bitcoin, and yes, sometimes it is a conversation and not just me proselytizing to anyone who will listen, I found myself first and foremost having to explain this or that aspect of history, which led to the need for the invention of Bitcoin in the first place. A need that most of us in democratic regimes never knew we had. Until today. Before it became an entrenched part of the modern welfare state, like healthcare, education, or military, money was a technology that benefited its users at a given point in history in a given geographical part of the world. In sum, I've always found that the best way to explain Bitcoin is to illustrate that history, which has led to the need for its invention, without ever having to utter the words Bitcoin, blockchain, or crypto. Presenting Beads to Bitcoin, a brief history of money. This series will contextualize everything you need to know about said protocol without getting lost in the technological weeds. By the end of this year-long monthly series, you'll understand the rationale behind every aspect of the world's greatest decentralized network and secular monetary protocol.
Start your free account at Ndax.io today.